Dallas Mavericks fans, MFFLs. Unfortunately, the Dallas Mavericks took a loss today, 116-111. Los Angeles Clippers 116, the Dallas Mavericks 111. There is not anything to be happy about in this game because it obviously started with the first quarter. I'm not understanding how exactly. We're going to get straight to it. But before we get going, as always, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share. I appreciate you guys for all the support. Keep rolling. Like I said, we're at 1,000 subscribers already, so I definitely appreciate you guys very much. The next goal, obviously, is 2,000, so let's keep it pushing. Let's keep growing. Let's keep it interacting. Let's keep moving together as the Dallas Mavericks have to find their way through this playoff series and just the offseason. Everything is going to come with it, but right now we're focused on this postseason series against the Los Angeles Clippers. The Dallas Mavericks took a loss again, 116-111 to the Los Angeles Clippers in Game 4, a game that was without Kawhi Leonard, and I'm going to say it right now. I already had the thought in Game 1 they may look a little bit better. The Clippers, I'm talking about, may look a little bit different without Kawhi Leonard. Of course, obviously, a lot of the talk was the Dallas Mavericks should be able to take advantage of the Clippers. They don't have Kawhi. Kawhi Leonard is not the Kawhi Leonard of old. His knees at this point, in layman's terms, are going to say, are cooked. Kawhi Leonard is not the same player. His legs, his body is starting to give out on him. And again, it comes with attrition. We've already seen him. Many years, Kawhi Leonard has been dealing with some of these degenerative knee issues, and they're starting to come back and bite him. And obviously, the Los Angeles Clippers, when they brought together that combination of a Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they had big expectations and high hopes for what that could bring. And then adding guys like James Harden and Russell Westbrook to the team, obviously, they was going to be able to do nothing but add some more future Hall of Famers, some more firepower. But the way that the Clippers play without Kawhi Leonard is just I wouldn't say it's a completely different type of ball. You're not able to be bogged down because what they do is a little bit more. They're more free flowing. You see Paul George, James Harden, they go a little bit more ISO, and again, those are two players that can put the ball in the bucket when they're scoring. This is a game the Dallas Mavericks should feel very disappointed in themselves. You cannot come out in a very, again, I would say a series altering type game. We're talking about Game 4. The Dallas Mavericks, they pull out a victory today. You're up 3-1. You have a couple of days off. The next game, I don't believe, is until Wednesday, I believe, in Los Angeles. You can go up 3-1, have a couple more days to be able to get your bodies back under control, get yourselves healthy as you can be, obviously, with only a couple of days off, and come in there and try to close out the Clippers on their home court. The Dallas Mavericks completely laid an egg in the first quarter. 39-16 being outscored. That is completely unacceptable. We can talk about whose fault it is. There are many guys you can blame today for this game, but I'm going to start it with just the consistency of a Luka Doncic and just understanding what exactly the flow of the game is. Obviously, we do know Luka Doncic, since he's been with the Dallas Mavericks, a lot of it due to the fact our roster wasn't built around anybody else other than Luka Doncic. You didn't have guys that could get their own shot. You didn't have guys that could cut to the basket consistently. You didn't have guys that would be able to finish and catch and finish easy lobs consistently. Obviously, we knew what Kristaps Porzingis was, but he was not. He was a shell of himself majority of the time because he's either injured or, like he said himself, he admitted himself in an interview during this season, he was not as mature as he probably should have been. He and Luka, they felt like they were kind of having a battle, and he wouldn't accept the fact maybe taking that 1B role. He thought he should be getting just as much love as Luka. And one thing we've seen is Luka was having to carry a lot of the load, because when you didn't have Kristaps Porzingis because he's on the bench or he's injured, things like that, you're looking at a situation where Luka Doncic felt the need. He had to carry a lot of the load, and that was the case even up until last year. And even though when you're adding Kyrie Irving to the mix, although it was due to some issues, we saw the Dallas Mavericks, we did not have a well-built team whatsoever at all last year. It was Luka Doncic, we need you to continue to carry the load, and that's what it's been, like I said, throughout his first 4 or 5 years in the league. And to me, this is still an adjustment period for Luka Doncic. But if you're called one of the greatest players in the world, not just the NBA, in the entire world, obviously, you're looking at Luka Doncic to be able to understand the flow of the game. Luka was, I'm going to say he was a little bit more aggressive offensively, which I was glad to see. But at the same time, I didn't feel like they were good shots. They were shots we could get at any point of the game. And one thing you saw was when the Clippers, and this is to me where you lost the game, the Clippers came out just ready to fire. I believe at one point the Clippers are 8 of 11 on threes. The Dallas Mavericks are like 0 of 7, 0 of 8. We could not find a bucket. And what you've seen from the Clippers to start this series especially is they have no issue with just letting Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving handle the rock and just blitzing them whenever they get the ball. That was kind of one of the issues I saw with Luka Doncic not just allowing Kyrie Irving, because we saw what happened and helped into the second quarter is when the ball continues to just hit Kyrie Irving's hands, and now he's facilitating much of the offense. It was more sped up product. Luka Doncic is playing a little bit more on the wing, playing a little bit more in the corner, and he's kind of letting things come to him as he goes. And Kyrie Irving is a guy, he can get off any shot on the entire court, even at his size. But the team plays faster when Kyrie Irving is facilitating. And sometimes we need Luka Doncic to be the guy that's going to carry the rock and handle the playmaking ability, because sometimes teams are more well built to be able to slow down some of our up tempo and transition type offense. But the Clippers, to me, are not one of those teams. They don't have guys that can continue to run throughout an entire game. I do not care what you're talking about when it comes to, yes, they have athleticism. They have guys that are long. Paul George, if you're making James Harden, if you're making Kawhi Leonard, obviously when he's in the lineup, you're making Zubac, you're making them run. They're going to tire out, and sometimes it's going to get you just easy baskets. We're getting back into the offense where you're seeing Luka Doncic trying to facilitate the offense, and I'm not putting it all on him, because at the end of the day, it's also on your head coach. You have to understand what you're seeing. Jason Kidd, I'm going to say now, he got a little bit better towards the end of the season here and there, but I'm never one of the people that's going to continue to ride the Jason Kidd train. I'll always say, give him credit when he deserves it, but at the same time, those issues that Jason Kidd has, they did not go away, and this playoff game especially showed a lot of them. Kyrie Irving should be the main facilitator against a team like the Los Angeles Clippers, who don't necessarily want to get out there and run. And we have many guys that can get out in transition. You're talking about a PJ Washington. You're talking about a Derrick Jones Jr. You're talking about a Josh Green when he's on the court. You're talking about some Dante Exum. These guys, they don't mind pushing the ball when it's necessary. And Derek Lively, that's a guy that needs to be on the court as much as possible. I'll get into that, the issue with that, into the fourth quarter in a second. But we have got to continue to be aggressive. That is the biggest issue. When you go down 39-16 in the first quarter, there's not many things you're going to be able to come back against a team that obviously they have a better seed than you. But again, I feel like the Mavericks are the better team, but we're talking about it's not as if we're talking about the Clippers were a play-in team or anything like that. They're a very capable team if they're rolling and firing on all cylinders, which they did, and they could not miss in the first quarter. That was, although we talk about the separation, they did not miss a shot to start the game, whether it was contested, whether it was open, whatever it was, they could not miss. Paul George, I believe, had 26 points at halftime. This was a game where the Dallas Mavericks lost it in the first quarter, and it's because you don't have that attention to detail when it comes from your coaching staff starting. Obviously, again, I'm going to give some of these credits, some of these issues and some of the blame to some of the players on this game and on this team as well. But when it comes to it, at the end of the day, I'm going to put the most blame on the head coach, because you're the one calling the shots. You have the ability to call timeouts, stop momentum, and let these guys know this is not what we're doing today. We have a different game plan. We're going to switch it up. It's about adjustments. Jason Kidd is not good at that, and he's shown it many times. At some point, of course, we have parts of this fan base, they love Jason Kidd, or they don't think he gets way more blame than he deserves. I'm not one of those people, because at the end of the day, we've seen this many times. It's not as if we have a small sample size. Jason Kidd has been here 3 seasons now. We've seen many times where the Dallas Mavericks will get in trouble, and if we're not having a hot Luka game or a hot Kyrie Irving game, or guys themselves are just making plays, Jason Kidd is not always the best at in-game adjustments. And when it comes to the postseason, I'll give Tyronn Lue a lot of credit. He has no issue with changing some things up on the fly as they go. To me, Tyronn Lue is definitely a better coach than Jason Kidd, but we still have the players capable to pull out wins, especially against the Los Angeles Clippers. We have players to get the job done. We just did not do it today. And when you come out, like I said, it's so disappointing to see this team 39-16 in the first quarter. The first quarter, it was, again, that's how the game started. That is completely unacceptable. You have to have more heart. You have to have more toughness. You're sitting at home in a playoff game. It's a home game in front of your home crowd. Game 4, you're able to pull out a lot of momentum in this game if you're able to pull out a victory. And what the Dallas Mavericks do? Not even show up. That is completely unacceptable. That is the word for this game. I'm not even sure if you want to, again, and the number one thing you don't want to do, especially as a fan, you're watching this team and we continue to crap on everything that we've done, because this team has taken major strides, and I feel like we still have some steps to actually take. But it was just completely disheartening to see as a fan that the Dallas Mavericks came out in the first quarter and completely laid an egg, put themselves behind the issue and behind the gun. And the number one thing is, when you're talking about a postseason game, possession by possession matters. If you get yourself in a 30-point hole, which the Dallas Mavericks at some point, the biggest lead the Clippers end up having is a 31-point game. A 31-point lead against the Dallas Mavericks. You cannot let this happen in the postseason and call yourself a serious team. That is completely unacceptable, and I know the fan base especially is expecting a whole lot more from this team. When you're talking about the stat line, the stat sheet today, obviously you can look at Paul George. I believe 33 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. I believe 7 of 10 on 3. You're talking about James Harden, 33 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. 4 or 5 on 3, I think. This, again, to me, that's where the game was separated. Like I said, the 3-point shooting, it was atrocious from the Dallas Mavericks. And when you're watching what the Clippers do, they have no problem. Like I said, they don't even trust or have any confidence that the Dallas Mavericks shooters or floor spacers can actually consistently knock down shots. And that's what gets the Dallas Mavericks in trouble. We're going to have to improve that on that in the offseason. Obviously, we're looking at guys, and it's crazy to say right now, going back to the Western Conference team from a couple years ago, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, those are guys, they were very limited, obviously. They couldn't do too much. I'm going to say on versatility type offense when it comes to their offensive versatility, obviously. But when you're talking about what they could do was space the floor. When you're getting Reggie Bullock, they can actually knock down threes. When you're watching a Dorian Finney-Smith, that can consistently became, and we saw him grow from the very beginning, his first time joining the Dallas Mavericks to the time he finally was traded, unfortunately traded. You're watching he improved Dorian Finney-Smith as a space-up, spot-up 3-point shooter. The Dallas Mavericks do not have any of those really on this team. I can kind of go down the list and say, who do we have on this team that is a consistent knockdown shooter? You have Luka when he's hot, they'll fall. You have Kyrie Irving. We know when he's rolling, those threes are going to fall. But we don't have anybody else on this team that you can consistently trust. If they're wide open, they're going to knock it down consistently. And the Clippers are going to continue to play into the Dallas Mavericks' hands. They're going to say, or the Dallas Mavericks are going to continue to play into the Clippers' hands. Again, when it comes to the point of during the regular season, you can get away with just the heavy pick and roll offense, ISO ball, and drive and kick to the wide open man. But when you're having guys that are not going to be able to hit shots, you're going to find yourself in some of these games where now you're being blown out. If Luka's not going to be able to be aggressive offensively, Kyrie Irving's not going to be able to be aggressive offensively because they're having the ball forced out of their hand. What else are you going to be able to do? I'm not going to say as if everyone did nothing in this game, because that's not the case. And you cannot continue to throw away the first quarter. To me, that's where the issues all came from. I'm going to say the issue with the Dallas Mavericks is just not adjusting. Be more aggressive when it comes to up-tempo and transition offense. That's where we can beat the Clippers. That's where we can get out to a hot start, and you're not having the issues that you had in Game 1 and Game 4. We're going to have to be very serious for these next 3 games. Hopefully not 3, hopefully just 2. But now it's a best-of-3 series. That's what the series is going to come down to now. You have got to get to LA in Game 5. You have got to handle your business and come out with a win. And you have got to come back home and pull out a win in Game 6. Because if you do not, if you let this go back to LA, or you come out here and lay another egg in Game 5 in LA, you're going to be going home, and all those talks and all those expectations, everything you say you believe in this team in general, they are going to mean absolutely nothing, and it's going to be a wasted season. And if this is a wasted season in the first round, there should be lots of questions going into the offseason. And I mean from the head coach to everybody on this roster, because you are not going to be able to say you're a team that has the pieces. I will not be one of the guys that's going to say we don't have the pieces. We have the pieces. I'm not going to continue to, I'm not going to hedge any bets. I'm not going to say speak glowingly about what I think this team can actually get done and completely change my tone because we're not getting the job done. We still have the pieces. So if you do not get the job done, there needs to be lots of questions from the coaching staff on down. And you're looking at Luka and Kyrie Irving both played 45 minutes today. Luka ends up with a 29-point triple-double. I don't care about the triple-double. We're looking at the point. In fact, Luka shot 10 of 24. He has not had a great shooting series at all. But to me, again, that's not the issue. The issue was the 1 of 9 from 3. What I need Luka Doncic to understand is that we do not have to spam our 3-point shots, Luka. The step back 3, we don't have to do that anymore. Let's be clear. I love Luka Doncic as a player. But at the same time, if you're going to be an MVP, as many people have called him the real MVP, we can't call Luka the real MVP but not give him MVP expectations. His knee's banged up. I'm not going to completely write that out, because at the end of the day, Luka does not look healthy. And we see him limping. He's gimpy a lot. But at the same time, if you're out there, this is the postseason. Is it always fair? No, it's not fair. But you're going to have to hold a lot of that credit, and you're going to have to hold a lot of that blame if it's on the flip side. So, and then looking at Kyrie Irving, 40 points. This is a guy that we're talking about. He had to completely lead this charge from the second quarter on. And Luka Doncic started to find a little bit more rhythm, find his aggression, and then kind of taking advantage of the mid-range and getting to the rim a little bit more. That's what Luka needs to do from the beginning of the game. I'm tired of us waiting around. I'm tired of us waiting till the second quarter, third quarter to make adjustments. Handle business from the first quarter. You're looking at the situation where now you're seeing a PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., looking at Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, who played major minutes off the bench today. And again, I'm not even looking at Derek Lively as a bench player. To me, it's a dual threat at the combo type situation from Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. What exactly is Jason Kidd's issue with continuing to ride the hot hand of your 20-year-old rookie center. I'm not sure what his beef is with continuing. I'm going to continue to say that word, banging his head against a wall. Look at exactly what Maxi Kleber does. I'm not going to completely crap on Maxi Kleber either, because Maxi Kleber, I'm not going to act like he didn't have some solid stretches of this game. But the issue is, Jason Kidd continues to ride Maxi Kleber into the fourth quarter, late in fourth quarter situations. And he says himself, we saw Luka Doncic end up with foul trouble, serious foul trouble. And then later on in this game, you're looking in the fourth quarter, Luka Doncic has 5 fouls. Why exactly is Jason Kidd having Luka Doncic continue to guard James Harden with 5 fouls in crunch time moments? Knowing James Harden is the consistent ball handler for them, he's the one that's going to be having a lot of the playmaking abilities late in this game, and continuing. Luka Doncic cannot foul. He can't play overly aggressive because he's out of the game. And we've seen exactly what happens when Luka Doncic is out of the game. You could say what if you feel he's not helping the team or whatever it is, but we saw what happens. When Kyrie Irving is the lone ball handler, and we're talking about the lone ball handler, Dante Exum, he has the ability. You have a couple guys that can do it here and there, but the Clippers don't care about it. They don't trust that. When Luka or Kyrie are on the court by themselves, the Clippers have no issue with blitzing them, forcing the ball out of their hands. So we could talk about put Luka Doncic on the bench, let Kyrie, and you will see exactly what this looks like. Another ball down situation, because the Clippers are knocking down some shots at this point. And what happens? You're looking at a time where now Maxi Kleber is pretty much being your main predominant rim protector, and that's not his game. Maxi Kleber is a guy that's going to be able to use his hands in the lane sometimes. He's going to be able to get his hands on some balls, loose balls every now and then, and he can contest shots, but he should not be looked at as your main rim protector. Derek Lively showed himself to be a key piece to this game, and he should have been continued to be ridden into the ground into the fourth quarter, because deep into the fourth quarter, until this game hits the final zeros, because I feel like Derek Lively has earned that. He's earned that responsibility. He's earned that level of respect. And if Jason Kidd is going to continue to not give it to him, what are we doing? This is not the regular season. You don't have a tomorrow if you don't get the job done. If you continue to crap the bed, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go home, and all this stuff, all this talk was for nothing. Jason Kidd, I'm going to start it with him. You can go to Luka Doncic right after. You can go to whoever else you want to at the end of the day. But I'm going to say the head coach has got to be the one to pick the right bones at the same time, because you cannot let yourself get in a 31-point hole and not have a perfect coaching game plan, because at the end of the day, that's a big hole. At the end of the day, you also can't look at the situation and say, if the Dallas Mavericks go down 30 points, you're going to just necessarily come back. Once you found that momentum and somehow find yourself, which obviously Kyrie Irving, the special player he is, we can continue to beat the drum and talk about how great Kyrie Irving is. He showed it multiple times this game. Multiple. And when I say multiple times, I'm talking about throughout a 2-3 quarter span. We're talking about Kyrie Irving, like I said, ends up with 40 points, a master class. We end up taking the lead 105-104. Paul George comes down there, hits a crazy, unfortunate three against the Dallas Mavericks. It was a tight defensive possession as well. And he puts it up, and the Clippers kind of at some point, they don't find themselves looking behind at any point after that. And then you're looking at James Harden continue to take advantage of a 5-foul Luka Doncic, getting to the rim, easy floater, easy floater, easy floater. No change was made. We cannot let this happen going forward. Again, if you don't handle business in Game 5, you're going to have to deal with the consequences and the situation that you could come home back to Dallas in Game 6 with a chance to go home. That is not going to be pretty for anyone, and heads should definitely be rolling if we find ourselves in that situation. Game 5 will be Wednesday, May 1st, 9 p.m. Central Time. I believe the game will be on TNT. It's now Dallas Mavericks 2 wins, the Los Angeles Clippers 2 wins. Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington, they didn't have terrible games. We're talking about, I believe, Derrick Jones Jr., 14 points, 7 rebounds in about, 34 minutes. You're looking at PJ Washington, I believe, played 41 minutes, 10 points, about 4 rebounds. Again, they're doing a little bit of everything, but at the same time, it did not matter. That first quarter effort was just completely disappointing. I do not want to continue to have that same talk, because this is now the second time. We know the Clippers, whether they have Kawhi Leonard, whether they don't have Kawhi Leonard, whatever it is, you have got to come out aggressively from the beginning. I didn't think I would ever have to come into this series and saying we were leaving games on the court in the first quarter. I felt like the Dallas Mavericks, Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, the conglomerate of guys around him, Derrick Jones Jr., Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, whoever you want to throw at it. I thought this was going to definitely be a situation where you saw some of these guys come in ready, come in upset and angry because they've been disrespected all season. And all the talk is the Dallas Mavericks can't do this. They can't do this. Kyrie and Luka can't work. They can't do this. PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, those additions meant nothing to this team. we are literally now in crunch time. It's game 5. If you don't come out ready to go, if you don't come out locked and loaded, you can find yourself coming back home down 3-2. It is a must win if you're the Dallas Mavericks. It's a must win. That cannot go without saying. So, as always, I appreciate you guys for all the support. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and share. We have a lot to discuss going forward. Hopefully, the Dallas Mavericks come in ready to go because, like I said, if you lose, you go home. There's no tomorrow. This series is all there is for you to focus on right now. So lock in, Dallas Mavericks fans. This team still needs our support. Hopefully we can get it back rolling. Hopefully we can kind of, I guess you want to say, pick at the right pieces and make some things change. I don't care if we're talking about Kawhi Leonard back in the lineup in game 5. I don't care if he is. I don't care if he's not. The Dallas Mavericks have got to show some intention and show that they have some heart. That's what this is all about. Show some heart. The Clippers are not going to give you anything. You got to take it, or you're going to be finding yourself going home. So I appreciate you guys for all the support. Once again, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know down below in the comment section, how'd you guys feel about it? What do you feel like some of our biggest issues are? What do you feel like we can get much better at? What do you feel like we can do differently? How do you feel about Jason Kidd's coaching style in these first 4 games of this series? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for all the support. Go Mavs, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.